All right, on this episode of Inside the Box, we welcome David Hilst. So David Hilst had 6 Lazy Boy stores, sold them, and is now an agency owner of American Family Insurance. So we dive into his entrepreneurship journey, all the different challenges in leading a team and growing a team. This is a great episode if you're interested in that kind of thing, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, if you want to hear more about the challenges and what he's dealt with. And we also just dive into insurance and the insurance industry and what you need to look for on your policies. So tune in, enjoy, and appreciate you.
You are now entering the box.
Welcome back to Inside the Box. Today, I'm excited to have this guest here, long time, I'd say friend. I mean, we don't hang out outside of work, I guess, but known each other a long time. David Hilst, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I've wanted to have you on for a long time. I know we've worked together on a lot of different levels, all different businesses.
Yeah.
So I think you have a lot of value to provide people.
I hope so.
And pick your brain a little bit for everybody here. So I think let's just to start. Let's just jump back a while. You were the president of Lazy Boy Midwest.
Yeah.
You guys had what, 5, 6?
We had 6 locations in Illinois and Indiana.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I saw on your LinkedIn. I was looking at you did that for almost 19 years.
Yeah. So I mean, as a family business, I started working before I was 16 even. And by the time I was, let's say 20, I went to college, but still in college, I was working 40 hours a week.
Wow. That's hard to do going to school.
It's really rough. It teaches you the hard work needed, though, to run and operate a business. So I felt like by the time I graduated, I was already used to putting in 40, 50, 60-hour weeks, which is really what it takes to be successful, especially in retail.
Yeah. What'd you start off doing?
Started off, we had a warehouse underneath one of our store locations. I worked there, so I was literally like unloading and loading furniture from trucks. I was unboxing and putting together tables, chairs, sofas.
Yeah.
So just like, and really one of my favorite things was just like the manual labor part of it, because I mean, furniture's heavy, you're lifting it, it's 100, 200 pounds. It was a good workout, but like you also needed to use your mind to assemble things and to figure out like how to get furniture in and out of spaces, which is not the easiest thing to do. If you've ever helped someone move a couch, you'll know that.
As long as you're not assembling IKEA stuff.
Yeah.
That's like a puzzle. How did your dad start it then?
My mom and dad actually started it together. They started their first store in Indiana.
Is that where you're from, or?
Family's from Indiana. I was actually born in Springfield.
Okay.
So within 5 years, they had moved to having a location in Champaign and then in Springfield, where I was born. So
nice.
They had a very nice, small furniture store, and then 2 stores, and then 3 before I got started. Yeah.
How did they like decide to go the Lazy Boy route?
That's a great question.
Was it a franchise?
Was that
what it was considered?
So really, go back to the 1950s, 60s, 70s. Most furniture stores were small and independent. Lazy Boy really started operating in a franchise model in the late 70s, 80s, 90s, and then through today. But they started off with a small independent store, and Lazy Boy came to them asking if they would, rebrand into and operate in a franchise model.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So they just started a furniture store, and then
Lazy Boy was kind of one of the best products that they sold. So it was a no-brainer for them to move into that model.
Yeah, that was definitely some quality stuff. I mean, I remember we got at our house we're in now, you hooked us up, and we got our sofa. And the mattress isn't a Lazy Boy, but our mattress. And man, the sofa's been great and holding up to my kids freaking jumping all over it, beating
it holds up. It's comfortable. That's really what Lazy Boy is.
I'm like, you guys better not break that sofa. That thing's expensive. I can't get a deal on another one.
Not anymore. Yeah, I
know. So yeah, that must have been growing up in a business is just like a completely different thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like you do see the learning opportunity is huge. Because there's so many, and especially with a retail operation, with a delivery operation, there's so many facets of the business. But it's you see, like my parents modeled for me, like hard work and long hours, something that I still carry on to this day.
Yeah, no, those are definitely good things to learn early on, and just what can be done if you put in the work. You know, what I mean, at this point, you've done furniture, you've a transportation company, and now you're doing insurance. Like, how do you think? I was like, what is that? How do you think? How do you think starting so young in that experience? How do you think that's kind of shaped the way to where you are now?
I don't think, because really when you're in a family business, like they needed employees, they needed workers. So I didn't really have an option to not work. It's the only thing I know. It's the only thing I feel comfortable in. And so really, like when I sold the Lazy Boy business, I felt like something was really missing, which was like I missed work, which is definitely maybe a mentality that sets me apart a little bit, because it's like a lot of my personal enjoyment comes from the work and all the great things that come along with it, like whether it's personal relationships you develop, but it's just having a purpose too. And so I feel like I've always had a purpose, which has always been, maintaining and building a good business. Yeah,
it's weird. People dream a lot about like, selling their business and cashing out and not having to do anything. But I think it's the people at the same time, though. I think a lot of those people that build that business, like once they do that, it's like, well, now what do I do? Like, that's what I like to do.
I experienced that like firsthand. It was January 2024. I just sold our Lazy Boy business, and like I really felt like an urge of like, what am I going to do next? And I hadn't put a lot of thought into it, because I was so focused on selling the business, and I sold it to a public company, so it wasn't the easiest transaction to get done. But afterwards, it was a letdown. But then it's like, man, what is next? Then you really reevaluate your life and what your purpose is and what makes you happy, because you don't have to work, but there's a limited number of like vacations you can take, especially being, almost 40. It's like, I still have a lot of life to live, and I can't sit around and do nothing, and I don't have enough hobbies to make me happy. Well, let's start working again. Yeah.
What do you like most about just entrepreneurship, you think?
I think it's the independence and flexibility. I mean, a thing that would be hard for me in working for someone else would be operating within their strategy or rules if I know something that, particularly works for me. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into that, but I do think that would be something that would be difficult.
Yeah, that's tough. How do you create? Was it in a book I was reading? I can't remember, but it was talking about basically how to try to create an environment for your team where they feel comfortable, like coming to you with those ideas or things that they might have as if they were running the business. You know what I mean? That maybe you don't think about. And I know in some businesses, like people are almost afraid to speak up about those things. Do you like encourage that? How do you go about that?
Yeah, for me, I think it's creating open communication. So if you can just talk to any employee like they're your friend and you're sharing ideas, but also be willing to fully accept their ideas, because a lot of my best ideas came from someone else or a discussion that we had. So it's keeping open communication lines. It's hiring people that you trust and that trust you, so that way you have a relationship that you can start to build real things from, great ideas from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it's tough too when people won't give you input, because I'm the same way. Like I love talking to someone and then they say something and all of a sudden like, oh, wait a minute, we could, you know what I mean? It just sparks something in my head and we're like, oh, we could do this, that won't work specifically, but if we take it this route or something like that,
it's just that collaboration though. I feel like that's such a huge thing, and a lot of businesses are missing it, where especially during COVID, those interactions were cut down. Well, it's like if you can collaborate and talk amongst each other, that's where the good ideas come from, and that's where a lot of the success comes from too.
Yeah. So during, you started young as a kid and everything like that. Did you know early on that you wanted to take over that business, or what were your ambitions?
I wanted to be a veterinarian. So,
Really?
yeah. And so I really, my first year in college, I was focused on that. Sure, I was working at the family business, but that was really never my goal. But 2008, my happened, and the economy got real bad. And my mom reached out to me and was like, hey, I need you to take a more active role in our business and in what you're doing. So for me, it didn't feel like something I didn't ever think I could run that business. I didn't think I had another brother, and my mom had a lot of great employees. I never thought I would be the one to do it. So really it was a tough economy.
Did you think you wouldn't be the one, or was it just like intimidating?
It was intimidating,
Yeah.
sure. And I had a lot of self-doubt at the time too. So really, and you're 18, 19, 20 years old. What do you really know about yourself? I didn't think I would be the one. That came a lot later on of realizing, like maybe I do try to do a good job at work. And as things are, when you're successful in one small thing and you build upon that, you gain confidence too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school at?
St. Louis University.
Okay. And you were going for vet school originally? Yeah. Wow.
I wanted to help animals, and
Yeah.
I guess now I help people, but in different ways.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I didn't know you were going to school to be a vet. I used to want to be an architect.
Yeah.
I used
It's
to
kind of
design
crazy
those,
career path.
Like I had the early programs where you like design the houses on the computers.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
just like sit there and design houses just for fun with these little programs, and I think part of it was just like one, just I like to create or whatever, but two, like kind of fantasizing about having that house. Like, oh, this would be such a cool house.
Yeah.
to have. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And it's like you're designing components of it, and it's something that, I don't know, I think, like you said, it's a creative process too, and you're in something creative now. So
Yeah.
you're just building something different, but still maybe getting some of those dopamine hits from creativity or coming up with a good idea.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a lot different. So you've worked in a lot of different industries. What have the transitions between those industries like taught you about business? Like, obviously, you've done three very different things.
Yeah.
You had the Lazy Boy, you have the Viper Transportation, you have insurance now. Like, what have you learned from having those?
I would say the biggest thing is, like, a lot of the business lessons you learn, they translate in between the businesses. So it's like whether it's hiring and keeping good people, or selling the best product you can, or, doing the right kind of marketing to make yourself stand out. Those concepts apply to any business. So those were the ones like I took with me every time I jumped. And definitely the reason why I've found success in the insurance business was something I learned in the retail business, which is if you prioritize and take care of your clients, everything else, the money's going to work out. So those concepts translate, but learning the different industries, that's a painful thing. It's a lot of learning up front, a lot of questioning yourself, like, do I understand this business? And there's a lot to learn. But those concepts are what like keep me grounded. And oftentimes I can think back to things I've learned from retail or transportation. It applies to insurance too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's your favorite way to learn? Do you like to read or listen to books, or just
I will two things. I watch a lot of YouTube videos now, because I find that you can just you can find some bad content, but you can find a lot of great content right on YouTube. I do that, and then honestly, like when I got into the insurance business, ChatGPT was just kicking up. I would ask ChatGPT question on question on question. Then you have to go verify somewhere else. But definitely using those two resources, YouTube and ChatGPT, I feel like it really cut down my learning curve in the insurance business, particularly.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with the tools out there now. Man.
Yeah,
it's. I think it's really going to change even schooling over the
Yeah,
next...
I would think so. Because I mean, and again, it's the same thing where it's like, how do you learn best? Well, for me, it's watching things and then reading extra details about them, asking questions. It changes the way you learn, but I do think it speeds it up in many ways where you're not searching for an answer. You can get it almost instantaneously.
Yeah. It's going to be weird in the near future. We talk about I talked about I think I would enjoy homeschooling my kids.
Yeah.
Just teaching them in a different way where they don't have to sit in a classroom, and I was like, I feel like it'd be pretty easy until they get to high school. Then we start getting some complicated subjects. I was like, but by that time we'll probably have AI that's even more powerful. We'll be able to just teach subjects even easier.
Yeah, no kidding. Or an AI teacher even.
Or
but
robot
yeah, it's
or
like
whatever.
You put calculus in front of me, that's when I'm going to AI every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, most of that stuff, it's like, I never use
I don't use it on a regular basis. Yeah.
We went and saw Nate Bargatze at the convention center, at the BOS Center recently. And I don't remember. Oh no, it wasn't even at that. I was watching a reel of his, and he was making a joke about how kids do Common Core math now.
Yeah.
So he's like, why regular math seemed to work pretty well? Why did they make it so complicated?
They take a 2-step problem and turn it into a 6-step problem.
Like, I see regular math in here. He's like, that's like me asking you to come over, and you come to my front door, and I'm like, you can come in, but will you go around the back, jump the fence, walk around, come through the house, and meet me up here?
It's true.
It's like, I don't know. So I don't look forward to getting into that. Actually, with my kid the other day, he was doing a math problem, and it was just, he's just learning math, and it was just like 26 plus 8 or whatever.
Yeah. And
they have 26 and 8, and I'm like, well, add these two first, and you write it here, then carry it up here, drop it down. And he's like, oh, that was so easy. And then I'm like, well, how are you supposed to do it? And he started telling me how they're supposed to, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So we do all this math together, and he goes to school, and he's like, Daddy, teacher wasn't happy you had me do the math.
It would be tough teaching that though. If I'm 40 trying to teach that kind of math, yeah,
it was weird. They're having them try to do some like 10 thing or something. So it wasn't even Common Core yet, but it was some way they wanted them to learn.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. What would you say was the biggest challenge moving from industry to industry?
It's definitely figuring out who your customer base is, figuring out how to message to that customer to then turn essentially into a sale at some point, and learning the pain points along the way. Whether you're building the business or working with a client, you're going to make those mistakes because you don't have that previous knowledge. Mm-hmm. So, really growing up in the retail business, there were a lot of shortcuts I didn't realize my brain did, that someone taught me along the way. Having, like in the insurance business, I'm having to learn that without having the same kind of teaching or the same kind of, experience level. So that was the toughest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. What kind of mistakes do you think entrepreneurs make when they pivot between businesses like that? Because I think that happens. Like, whether you sell a business like you did or one fails, and you try something else. You know what I mean? I think making those pivots, is there anything you've learned there that could maybe help somebody in the future?
I really think that if you've found success in one business particularly, and you move to another business, the biggest mistake you would make is not trusting your intuition that got you so far. So there are many times I questioned myself or questioned my marketing budget or where I was getting sales from, without really realizing it's like, I've had 18 years of previous experience in business. I need to continue to work hard, follow the path that got me to my initial success, and eventually that will pay off. And I've seen that, being in the insurance industry almost a year and a half now. It took me a solid year before I realized that my operating plan was it's the right operating plan, but I questioned it along the way a lot.
Yeah.
Probably spent too much time, going over mistakes I had made instead of really trusting myself and trusting the course that had gotten me so far in my past business.
Yeah. So You're an agency owner with American Family Insurance now.
Yeah.
What prompted the switch to that? What made you decide you wanted to get into insurance?
That's a good question. I had a bad claim experience myself personally on a family house that we had in Florida after a hurricane. And there the agent let me down in many ways, and the company let me down in many ways that I thought to myself, I was maybe angry enough or upset enough that I felt that pain point, and I thought to myself, I can do better, and I want to do better for other people. So that really ignited my passion in insurance, but really it's the same passion I had in retail, which was helping people. But I definitely experienced a pain point that changed, my business life forever, because insurance is the only thing I want to do going forward, because it's such an opportunity to help people. Mm-hmm. And my clients, hopefully my clients know this, but your insurance agent, your insurance company make a huge difference. And a lot of the times you get what you pay for. And, selling furniture like Lazy Boy, people understand that in a tangible product, you get what you pay for, whether you're buying a lawnmower or a basketball. Like if you spend more money, it's probably going to be a better product, but the same is true in insurance, where if you spend a bit more money, you can have much better coverage. And if and God forbid you have a claim, you're going to have a lot better experience too.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got to think a lot of times you're working with people that are, at a shitty point. Like either they just lost their car or their home, and they're looking for help. I've heard so many nightmares of people that just like get screwed one way or another. It's like you always worry about it. You're like, I pay for this all the time. Like, are they going to be there when I need them?
Yeah, and it's a question you don't know until it happens to you. Tornadoes last night, right up north.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I have a client up there, had his car outside. He had parked, gone inside to go down in his basement, but his car, hail damage all over the car. And I was working with him early this morning, getting back to him because he was freaking out. Of course, why wouldn't you be?
There was some giant hail.
Yeah. I think they said 5 or 6 inch hail. But it's those experiences and being there for people that make a difference and definitely make me realize that I've chosen the right career path.
What made you choose American Family?
Another good question. When I sold Lazy Boy products, it was a company that had been around about 100 years, an American-made product, and a good company that had a warranty. They stood behind. American Family, they've been around for 95 years. They have a good product. They really offer better coverages than other insurance companies do, and they stand behind their claims experience. So when I was trying to translate, the things I had learned about business previously, I knew that if I picked a good company with a good product that stood behind the product, it would make my life a lot easier. And American Family was that company, because I had other offers from other insurance companies, but they were the one that it's like, I'm going to use that mental shortcut of knowing, like, more than likely this is the company that's going to perform well in the long run, just like Lazy Boy had performed well in the long run.
Yeah. It's a good way to look at it. Where are they based out of? Do they have like a
Madison, Wisconsin. Okay. So, I think that's a good thing too, because they started off selling insurance policies to small rural communities, particularly farmers, and they're based in the Midwest. They built their business based on smaller clients like what we have in Springfield or Central Illinois, not these, large insurance companies that sell insurance everywhere and, they're operating out of a call center. American Family is, it's much more local. It's located in the Midwest. The people you talk to, you actually talk to people in the Midwest if you have a claim, or even in Springfield if you have a claim. So it's definitely a local company that cares about their clients in a different way than a large national brand. Yeah,
I love that. What do you think the biggest mistake people make when choosing insurance is?
I would say that you could save $5 or $10 on your insurance a year. I see people cut their coverages short trying to save that money. But in the event of a claim, and claims often are $5, $10, $15, $20, $100,000, they were trying to save $5 or $10 or $20, and they're not getting the right claim service, but it's because they cut coverages. So normally if people are price shopping, and particularly price shopping for, trying to save money, there's a point at which you have to stop and know that you don't want to cut your coverages back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to be covered when
you want to be properly covered, because those
not be getting your house.
Yeah, it's like you saved $100 a year, but it's costing you $10,000 or $20,000 because you don't have the right endorsements and coverages.
That kind of leads me to another question I had that maybe ties into that or is similar. But like, what's something most people don't understand about insurance until it's too late?
I would say that typically something that people don't understand until it's too late, apart from not having their coverages, is that your agent makes a difference. So on claims, like, you should probably talk to an agent before you make a claim. It will determine how well it determines if the claim pays out properly or not. But I see a lot of people file claims where they don't have coverages, and it actually hurts your insurance score and costs you money. So it's that factor where it's like people don't really think about their agent making a difference, but more likely than not, your agent is the number one factor in determining your price and determining how claims are paid out. So having a local agent actually matters.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. Does what do you think the biggest benefit of somebody, what am I trying to say? Like, when picking an agent, what would you suggest looking for?
You want someone that's knowledgeable, and that's sometimes not the easiest thing to determine if you don't have high insurance knowledge. But it's someone that's knowledgeable so they can make sure you have the right coverages. And you want somebody that's involved, someone that's actively involved in their business. A lot of, larger insurance agents, agencies, and larger companies in general, their agents are so focused on selling policies each day that they don't put the work that they need to in the clients they already have. So really, it's like, if you can kind of discern that when you're shopping for insurance, finding an agent that you can trust, that seems like they genuinely care about you, that makes a large difference in your experience and really how you're covered.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. You don't really know until you kind of test drive them.
Well, I didn't
get to know someone. Yeah,
I didn't know anything about insurance till I had a bad claims experience, and then I learned a lot really quickly. But it wasn't until that claims experience where I learned, this actually matters, and knowing your agent, having a local agent, a local adjuster makes a big difference. And a lot of companies don't have those. That's a good thing about American Family is, like, they have agents based in really every town in Central Illinois, every town around here. They have adjusters for your claims based locally as well. So it's people that, you generally may even know, but they're people that understand the Springfield community. So if you have a storm come through, they're there to help on the spot, as opposed to trying to call a call center in India, which is a real problem people have.
Yeah. There's some adjuster just coming from out of town.
That
doesn't know the area or something. No, I could definitely see that. What I know recently you had mentioned that insurance was actually dropping quite a bit. What's been the reasoning behind that?
Well, insurance pricing for us is decreasing right now because we've integrated so much technology, whether it's imaging roofs. So when we write a policy, we use a company called Cape Analytics that uses LiDAR to look at every roof, and they can determine the quality of the roof and just take that a step further. They can really determine a lot of things about the house before you sell the insurance. So, American Family's been selective with the clients they've brought on, clients that don't have like a large claims experience. And so that's allowed us to be competitive and drop rates this year, even though inflation hasn't gone anywhere yet. So prices are still going up, but our rates are coming down because the clients that we have are good clients. They're not turning in excessive claims. And so that's allowed us to be very competitive in the market and offer a great product at a lower price.
Interesting, yeah. Well, that's crazy. bad experience led you to a new career path, you know?
Yeah.
Florida's weird too, man, with the hurricanes. Like my buddy was down there, and he had one affect his house, and he's a lawyer, and he deals with insurance as a lawyer, and he's like, I'm fighting with my insurance.
Which is the worst. I mean, that's what I was doing. It's the worst place to be because you're often going to lose with the way they write a lot of the Florida policies, particularly where in a house in Florida, your bottom level, it's not covered. That's why there are so many homes that are built up and on stilts.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Yeah, it's like, what do you do? Otherwise, every time there's a hurricane, every insurance company is just going to get dominated by claims.
Yeah.
Can't imagine being the person determining all that, how to handle that.
I'm sure it's a tough job, but you're better off renting or leasing a place in Florida than owning it.
It's funny, you actually hear that a lot, just in general about housing. You know, sometimes just watching videos or whatever, maybe a lot of people say, like, unless you're really financially ready to own a home, like, renting is such a good thing because you don't got to worry about all the repairs and furnace and AC and all this stuff that
you're totally right. Like, it's predictable. So you have a predictable expense versus I have a 30-year-old home. I had to replace my roof, my HVAC system, and a sump pump just last year. So it's like there are a lot of costs with owning something crazy. On top of taxes. Yeah.
If you're not ready for it, man, it can get you.
Yeah.
What are the different kinds of insurance that you like? You guys all cover basically everything, home, businesses, like.
Yeah.
A little bit more about it.
One of the great things about American Family is like kind of the breadth of products that they offer. So we do home, auto, life. There's something called umbrella, which is liability protection. We also can do small businesses, commercial fleets, and having the option of even American Family allows us to work with outside companies that are also great partner companies, so we can insure so many things in and out of this state. But you can also, with American Family, like if you own a small business, you can bundle that insurance with your personal home and auto or life insurance, and it gets you discounts. So it's being able to be a one-stop shop for clients that have, multiple properties or rental property or cars and a business.
Yeah, and that's always nice because you don't have all these different people. You gotta go pay. Like, oh, where was that insurance at again?
And you're trying to keep track of bills and stuff. Yeah, it's made it easier for my own life because I own a few properties as well as personal home, auto, and I have my own business. So it's like I only have to buy insurance through myself. Luckily.
Yeah, one place to log in.
Yeah, and I have to hold myself accountable for that too. I'm like, who didn't make? Oh, it's me that didn't pay my bills.
So through these different businesses, excuse me, you've obviously had a lot of team members. When you're building a team, what do you look for in people?
That's a great question. I would say for me, when I'm trying to pick a team, I'm trying to find people that are hardworking, people that I can trust, especially in the long run, people that are willing to learn, because oftentimes, especially in a new business or getting into a new industry, there's a lot of learning that has to take place. In launching this new business, I tried to hire people that were flexible. In insurance, you're often pivoting, sometimes home and auto selling, sometimes life is selling really well, but you have to pivot in between. And then I look for people that are open to collaboration and communicate well. So if they're willing to share their ideas and they communicate well with me, with their coworkers, with their clients, for insurance, it's an important thing. Maybe for all business, it's an important thing. So that really, most of those factors determine who I'm hiring. But you also have to think, after your second or third employee, it's about team dynamics.
It starts getting really complicated.
Yeah, it's like, how will they get along with the rest of the team? How will the team get along with them? Because it's harder introducing more and more people. You want to make sure. I think such an important thing I learned from my last business was how important company culture is. Mm-hmm. And if you have a positive culture as opposed to a toxic workplace, it makes a large difference in how people perform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's actually amazing, the difference. Even just one person.
One person can make all the difference. What is it like? If you have one Skittle out of 100 that's poisonous, you're still not going to eat it.
Yeah. No, I've definitely learned that over the years. It's, you may have somebody that's like, they're great. They're like all these different things, but there's one thing that maybe is just totally disrupting the culture, and you think it's okay that maybe you could deal with it, and then all of a sudden that person's gone. You're like, wow, I should have let that person go probably a while ago.
Yeah,
like,
they say to like hire quickly and fire quickly, and I disagree with that a little bit, but I do think and you seem to be this way too. You want to give people enough opportunity to do well,
right?
But sometimes it's like in allowing them, you don't realize what they're costing you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This one guy I follow, he said, hire fast, fire faster, promote fastest.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I've tried to kind of go by that a little bit. I like that concept.
Yeah, I do too.
But yeah, it's like figuring out like, when have you given them enough time?
That's a tough call always. Yeah.
Because you don't want to just be firing people all
You want
the
to be
time.
ruthless. Yeah.
What would you say is the difference between managing people and actually leading them?
I've seen like a great info on social media where it's like the manager's in the back with a whip and the leader's out in front pulling whatever they're pulling. I do think that does make a difference, especially just with success in general. If you are an active owner that's actively working towards a goal, your team sees that. And so it's modeling the traits it takes to be successful. So if you can lead from the front, or at least from the middle, you're going to be way ahead than a manager that would micromanage or coach down to people.
Mm-hmm. I know you have some people from past businesses that work with you now that you've been able to kind of bring along, I assume probably because they were great team members.
Yeah.
How has the transition been for them, learning kind of the new industries as they've moved along with you?
And this comes back to the piece where I said, I was trying to pick people that were flexible, because they were willing to learn along with me and forgive me for some of the mistakes I've made, and I of course forgive them for the mistakes they make, on a daily basis or as we're learning. That's been important, but during COVID, the cost of acquiring your next employee went way up.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that one of the biggest values I had were in the people I already knew, and the people I already knew how they worked. I knew what their good habits were, I knew what their bad habits were, but I knew them. And so, my talent acquisition costs for this new business have been essentially very low because of that factor. I've found people, and I have new employees too, but I found people that had worked with me in the past and worked well. We've worked well together in the past, and kept them and promoted them and rewarded them for sticking along with me in this journey now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's gotta feel good that they're willing to learn something new for a chance to kind of move along with you on these different journeys. And
it's in some ways it's fun, right? In some ways it's tough, but I think part of it too is they're people that I'm developing to be future business leaders, and that's how I look at them. Whether they're an intrapreneur or an entrepreneur, whether they're leading inside my business or they have their own business at one point. Giving them that opportunity, I think, is very valuable too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's. How do you go about motivating people? Do you ever find that challenging?
I think that goes through my head more than I would want it to, and it did in retail too. I had a team of 60 salespeople at one time. Wow. And that question was always like, how do you motivate the sales team to do not just as well as they did last month, but even better? And it's, I think it is providing first encouragement, all the things that are free. So encouragement, small rewards, recognition, but also, providing financial incentives or other incentives, whether it's, a long-term goal where we're taking a trip or doing something fun, or even a short week-long goal of if we hit this goal, this dollar goal or whatever. We're going to go out to lunch on Friday. I think I've done a good job of constantly being creative in the incentives that we offer, whether they're short-term and long-term. And always, it's like I see myself as an owner, it's my job to come up with those incentives and come up with new incentives if I want new behaviors from my team.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always challenging because it seems like, especially with younger people, like everybody's motivated so differently.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can't even tell you what motivates them. Like
I think so. Yeah.
I've asked team members, there's so many times, I always ask people, so what motivates you? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of times that people just don't even have an answer.
Yeah. Well, it's like, how often do you really think about why you're doing what you're doing and what would motivate you to do better? You don't, but it's asking those questions as opposed to the owner or the boss that doesn't ask those questions. I think that makes a huge difference for how employees are engaged. If you're at least asking them and wondering how they're motivated, you care. And I think it shows the employee that, and they may not know, but at least they feel like they have some sort of communication and feedback loop where they're respected and valued.
Yeah. 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 The other thing is I always, even past like what motivates you, like what's your goal? Like, what do you want to do? Who do you want to be? Try to get that idea, because you can't like help somebody work towards that if you don't know.
If you don't know. I mean? Yeah. One thing I've done in my company is with my team, I have them write their own goals out for a year, 2 years, 3 years, but it's like, what do you want personally for you? Not just what do you want from work, but what are the personal goals that you have? And then I'm trying to figure out how I can help them get there, not just professionally, but personally as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you find that those are typically something that ends up being monetary, doing something?
I guess it always takes money to get whatever that goal may be, because some people, it's like, I want to own a home.
Right.
Or I want to have a rental property or be able to invest. Well, yeah, oftentimes it's like there's a financial aspect to it, but you also have an educational piece that you need to invest or own a rental property. So it's like, can I provide both of those in one way or another? Yeah.
So what's the like testing or process to become like a insurance broker?
There's a lot of certifications. You need, it depends on what you sell. But if you're selling property or auto insurance, you have to have a property and casualty license.
Is that like a standard national thing?
It's a standard national thing. There are some state exams you have to take as well, as far as rules and regulations. So you have to take kind of a set of tests, once for property casualty, which is home and auto, and once for life and health, the other component of it. So those are the 4 licenses you need to really provide a full breadth of insurance products. But then you have, continuing education that you're required to by the state that you have to complete every couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always interesting, the industries where you have these certifications that you have to get and stuff. So I'm always, I had a financial advisor on one time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing, just always interesting to hear what you got to do and hoops you got to jump through to get all the different things.
Yeah.
Did you find getting those was challenging?
Because I didn't have an insurance background and hadn't worked in someone else's agency or office, it was more challenging to come and say, hey, I'm looking at learning a 600-page book, which is essentially what you're sent. So yeah, it was challenging at first, especially as you begin to learn. But looking back at it now, a year and a half later, those concepts are very simple compared to what I'm trying to learn about specific lines of business.
Mm-hmm. How about like taking the test for that stuff when you're, 38, 39, whatever? Like, was that you know what I mean? It's like you don't really take tests much these days. My team, all of our video people get their drone licenses.
Oh, okay.
And they got to go take a test. They got to study for a test. Yeah. And they're like, oh, it just takes me back to college, man.
There's a lot of cobwebs up there at 40 that I had to knock off first. Yeah. Yeah, because you're rough at test taking or whatever that learning thing is that you need to pass a test.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I haven't had to like take a test for something in a while, you know what I mean? But so I'm always curious how that goes for people.
Yeah. And I'm actively in the process of bringing new insurance producers onto my agency, and they're trying to get certified in property and casualty. And so it's like, it kind of takes me back to 18 months ago when I was there, of trying to learn and relearn this stuff. And it is difficult for people when you first get started, but that's really just the first step. It's like if you can take that first step and keep going, that's the ticket, and it probably works in insurance in any industry.
Yeah, just it's kind of had to be a little bit fun though, like to kind of challenge yourself to
for
take
sure.
a test, learn something new. Like I enjoy learning. Like I would spend all day learning and creating, you know what I mean? There's just something about it, just feeling like you know about something, you know. It's just cool to figure
It's
things
like
out.
it's really, I think it's rewarding to learn about, especially for me. It's been because I've been in multiple industries, it's learning about a whole new thing that I didn't really know existed.
Yeah, I love that's one of the reasons I love doing this podcast, is just bringing people on that are in some completely different industry and just learning about it. You know what I mean?
And I'm sure there are a lot of similarities and some differences, obviously, but there are concepts that translate. For sure.
Especially from a business perspective. You're very involved, you know, in the community and do a lot, I think, to help out, whether it's sponsorships or donations or anything like that. Why do local businesses matter more than people realize in a community like ours?
In working with some of the local charities and organizations and seeing, you know, I'm on the board of a couple, seeing where the money comes from, you realize that, and especially pre-COVID, a lot of that money came from local businesses, and it still does. So I would say, you know, I didn't ever see it as a responsibility growing up that businesses needed to take care of the community. But I would say with funding levels for charity and organizations now, they need small businesses now more than ever to donate and to help them. And, you know, if you want a strong community that's going to support your business, the cheapest way of finding that is to put money into the community where you can help.
Yeah, a while back you did 30 days or 30 weeks of...
It was 30 days,
30 days, yeah. Where you get, what was it? You gave $1,000 a day to the charities and stuff?
Yeah.
How was that? That was pretty, I thought that was a pretty cool thing to do.
It was way more overwhelming than I thought it would be, actually.
Seemed a little overwhelming when I saw you were going to do it. I was like, that seems like a lot to try to figure out and make sure you're giving it to a good place.
Yeah, and so like I set parameters, like I wanted them to be actively local in Springfield community, but just figuring out, you know, how they spend their money. That was a learning experience, and kind of, you know, I was inundated with a number of people that wanted or needed money, and cutting that list down from, I got hundreds of suggestions, to 30 was actually the hardest part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at any point where you're like, God, I just want to help all these places.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year, so after that first month, it was in January, you know, 30 days of giving. But last year I ended up working with about 55, 60 charities. And a lot of them I've, you know, kept on going, not just financial support, but really, you know, whether it's helping kids or helping families, like we at our agency put a lot of time into doing that because you see how much it matters. But it turned from one thing, which was like 30 days of giving, into more of an ongoing thing, because you realize the need that is out there, and you hope that the money you're giving or the time you're giving is going to the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And in participating in these local organizations and charities that I've supported, I can tell you, like, it definitely is needed, and it's definitely going to the right place.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it's I wish I had more time to be able to do more stuff. I've been asked to be on, you know, just various boards and stuff.
Yeah.
And as much as like I want to and would love to help out, it's like, gosh, I got so much
There's
time
a time
in the day,
commitment,
man, especially with 3 young kids and
Sure.
you know, multiple businesses. It's tough to try to balance it all and do everything you want to do, you know, to give back.
I think there's a limit on the impact you can even make too, you know, because it is a time allocation thing where it takes time to just give money to a charity and figure out that it's going to the right place. Mm-hmm. But it takes time to be involved. So the way I do it now is, if I can find a short-term way of being highly impactful, I'll do it. And I'm willing to give up that time with, you know, family, friends, or bring them along, to where I'm not losing a big portion of my day. Yeah.
During that 30 different like charities that you worked with, was there one that you particularly stood out that you just really enjoyed or loved
Yeah.
helping the most?
The one that was it was a charity I didn't know about previous to doing that, and one that I saw make a very big difference. It's called Compass for Kids, and they provide after-school programs where they actually feed kids after school too, which is a big component of it. And they provide a summer program where they teach and feed kids during the summer when school isn't a main, resource for them. And to see the improvement in the kids' social, emotional intelligence, to see them improve, whether it's math or reading, that was super rewarding. And so I keep continuing to work with them, and I spend a lot of my spare time, trying to, we often bring dinner to different, they do it through churches. So we'll bring dinner to a church. The kids, we serve them dinner, we clean up. That's one thing that I really have enjoyed, but I think it makes a difference with the kids, and Compass for Kids is doing a lot of the right things to help the children in the Springfield community.
Yeah, we had on what was her name, she was with Compass for Kids. We had her on the podcast one time. We talked about a couple different things that was going on with them, and I learned a lot about them. I didn't realize all the different stuff that they did.
I didn't know. I think part of why I did 30 for 30 days was to bring awareness to some of the charities, because they don't have a lot of them don't have a large marketing budget. You don't want them spending money that way anyway. But if you don't know what they do, it's kind of hard to give them money. So I was trying to bring light to some of the better charities that are local in our town.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. If someone wants to build a strong local brand, where do you think they should start?
That's a question I don't know if I know the answer to. If you're trying to build a strong local brand, I think it really does start in the community. Oftentimes I think you find a local business that's successful. They've built a network of friends and family that have helped them, supported them along the way, and community members that have helped them, supported them along the way. So I think it's like, if you want to build a local brand, you have to get hyper local with it, and that's interacting with the community. I'm shocked every time, like I'll find a client, we'll sell them home and auto insurance, but it's from an event we did, 3 or 6 months ago that I built that initial connection. So I think it's really investing time into your community, into your networks, into your friends, into your family. That's not to get anything from it, but it does, at least in insurance, it pays off a little bit.
Yeah. Kind of giving first, and hopefully it comes back around.
I would say I haven't seen it not come back around yet. Yeah.
What do you think something small business owners should be doing for their community that most don't?
The one thing small businesses do really well is they provide jobs, but I would say, more often than not, hiring is always a tough thing. Finding the right people is always a tough thing. I personally do, a lot of training sessions that are free. We're doing one where we're educating people on insurance. And so it's like, if you can provide that education locally for free, you're providing a service which may actually help all the small businesses around them. And also it's like, if you can be a mentor to another small business owner, or even have a network that you talk to other small business owners, that knowledge is so powerful. So it's like spreading knowledge of what's working, or what your, biggest, issues are in your business, because a lot of them translate as well. Communicating and spreading that knowledge makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's another big reason I love doing this podcast, is just having on business owners, getting to pick their brains, like learn from what they've done, whether it's mistakes or challenges. And, you don't have, like, especially like myself, when I got started, I didn't really have like a mentor. I had my older brother. He never owned a business though. He was just did well at what he does. So I could always talk to him. I had my dad, and my dad had done a couple small entrepreneur things, but he passed away before I even started this business.
Yeah, sorry.
But it's nice when you meet another business owner that's willing to give you some time to talk to you or give you some advice or whatever maybe.
Yeah, and I think you can definitely be empathetic, and I can tell you too, it's just there's a lot of knowledge that does help you and translate. So one of the things I did when I started my insurance agency was I was lucky enough to go out and find a few other great agency owners, and I asked them as many questions as I could, and the responses I get still drive my decision making today.
Yeah. Hey, did you find that the other agency owners and stuff were pretty helpful for the most part?
I think so, because they've experienced the same issues. They remember starting their agency. So it's something where when you have been a small business owner, it's something that you know is necessary. It's like no matter what, there's going to be X number of insurance agents, but you might as well help as many people as you can, because I think it's something like 80 or 90% of insurance agents fail when they try to launch their own business. So it's a high failure rate. And so the ones that have succeeded, they're pretty willing to share knowledge with you to help you not make the mistakes they made.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing, because I think I feel like it's started to change a little bit, but I feel like for a long time in Springfield, how do I want to say it? Like people, I don't know, maybe people didn't want to help, or people felt like if they helped you, you were going to like take their business, or, you know what I mean? There's like a competitive thing that I don't feel like is so much a thing anymore, but for a long time it really felt like that. And maybe that was just me in my own head. I don't know.
I think it could be a generational thing too, but I think any successful business owner would say there's enough pie to go around for like everyone, where just because you're doing well or someone else is doing well doesn't mean that somebody else can't come in and do a great job too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just remember like when I first started going to like chamber events and doing all this stuff, like it was like I'd try to talk to people, you know what I mean, or something, and it was just, I don't know, it was a hard thing to do. Not because I was nervous or something to do it. I'm very outgoing, you know what I mean? But sometimes it felt like, I don't know, people didn't want you in on the conversation or something, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I mean? I think it's the environment too. You know, if it's a scheduled networking event that's got a lot of, rules or structure to it, that's probably not good. But it's like, if you can meet a few key people and sit down at a bar and have a beer, that conversation flow is going to be a lot different.
Yeah. And it was interesting. It's been interesting too over the years as like, we've grown, and I think people are, a lot of those same people potentially are, like take you more seriously. Yeah. You've been around for a while, you know what I mean? And, pretty young back then. And it's kind of, I don't know, I guess prove yourself a little bit or something. I don't know. I
think there is that. I can tell you from the insurance industry, there is that where it's like you have to be around a little bit before they'll take anything you say seriously. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you ever been driven by like any kind of like chip on your shoulder? Like a lot of entrepreneurs, you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes they get a little bit of a chip on their shoulder that drives them maybe even more than some people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was born with one chip on my shoulder, I feel like, and my bad claims experience gave me my other chip, so it's evened me out somehow. I don't know. I think you need that a little bit to be willing to pursue a business and be successful in a business. You need that a little bit. Yeah.
I know you said like with Lazy Boy, like you didn't really think that you could be, run that business. Did it ever, did you ever have like a chip on your shoulder to like prove to your parents that you could do it? Was there ever anything like that?
You have enough family dynamics, sure. Yeah. At some point, there was definitely like that little chip where it's like, I want to prove to my family or my friends or whoever doubted me or whoever I thought doubted me, which probably was very few people. They don't think about you, but I think that definitely motivated me quite a bit.
No,
yeah.
I was curious. I think with me, like, we grew up very poor, and I don't know. It kind of drove me a lot. Like a lot of my friends had money.
Yeah.
Lived on the lake, and I very much appreciate those friendships because I got to do a lot of things that I wouldn't have got to do otherwise. Like go out on boats, and I remember one of my buddies took me to Florida to go deep sea fishing. And I'm a kid, and we never even went on vacations.
Yeah.
I never even realized that until like a year ago. Thinking back, like I called my mom, like, we never went on any vacations. Like this just hit me that you guys never took me on a vacation. The only thing we do is go to Maine to visit my grandparents.
Yeah.
But I think I always kind of had a little bit of a like an imposter syndrome, like being around my friends, that have money and and stuff like that, and they had nice cars, and me, I was delivering newspapers and bought my own car myself.
Yeah.
And so I think, and that's why I kind of asked if you ever kind of had a chip on your shoulder, because I think some of that is what's driven me over the years. You know what I mean? To kind of
how could it
get
not?
to that point and want to be able to be successful and have a nice house or whatever it may be, and provide for my family. And
and I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs, especially like some of the most successful ones, they had nothing. I mean, when I was 8, my dad died from ALS. We had a ton of medical bills.
Oh man.
No money. Like the family was super stressed, and like I remember that moment and thinking like I'm never going back to this moment again. So maybe that's what drives me. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I didn't like losing my dad when I was, what would that have been? I would have been 29. I felt like that was too short.
Yeah.
Put it all in perspective, though.
Yeah.
So man, at 8, wow, I didn't know that you were that young. So then you and your mom pretty much were running it at that point.
Well, not when
well, I guess you were 8, so no. So she was pretty much.
She was fully involved at that time, and a lot of stress because she was a teacher before that. It's not like she was some business person that really understood. Not to say she didn't learn lessons from working with my dad a little bit, but yeah, it was a stressful time for us for sure. Yeah.
ALS is tough too. When I first started dating my wife, her uncle had just kind of he'd gotten diagnosed just a little bit before we started dating.
Wow.
So I watched like the whole process, and it was a tough.
No matter what, it's just a tough process. Yeah.
What did he fight it very long? Was it?
He got diagnosed right after I was born, so he fought it for 8 years. Yeah, like I remember him only being in a wheelchair.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost my dad to cancer, and he battled that for like 2 years or something. And watching him go downhill from when he got diagnosed was just, it was weird, man.
Yeah, it's super tough the whole time. Yeah.
It's so weird too. Like it's like a circle of life. Like at the end of his time, like he had almost like turned into a kid again. Like he couldn't talk, and he was like chewing on things.
Yeah.
I literally went to Walmart and bought him a kid's chew toy
because
he was like chewing on the remote. You know what I mean? It was weird to watch. Part of me wanted to like document it to like show like to people that could understand, because he had lung cancer.
Okay.
But he was in the Navy, and they're smoking cigarettes in submarines and smoked cigars his whole life, and weed, and it ended up spreading like up to his lymph nodes and stuff.
Gosh,
and that's what ended up getting him. But it was a tough process, man. I actually left. I was working at Ace at the time, and I left there near the end to go help take care of him so he could stay at home. But yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's no age really where you're prepared to lose a parent, I don't think either. Yeah.
But still, like 8, geez, I can't imagine. What motivates you?
I touched on this a little bit earlier too, but I would say that, after I had sold my first business, I had lost the motivation for earning money at that point because we had gotten paid on that last transaction. So I had to figure out what truly motivates me. and what gets me up out of bed every day, right? So I think the biggest motivator for me is being able to make a difference in my team. So it's like making a difference in my team. Like if I can make their lives better, make anyone's lives better, really. But it's like your employees are probably one of the easiest places to start. If I can help them succeed, that motivates me quite a bit. Obviously, just being successful. You go from I went from one successful business that I had sold. It's hard not to continue to be successful because that's a great feeling to have when you're doing well. Obviously, there are a lot of tough spots along the way, but success drives me, and I feel like I'm also driven by the rewards that you put in front of me. I mean, if you can do fun things with the money you get, that's great. But it's like if I can impact people's lives, whether it's in the community, in the Springfield community, or for my team, that drives me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to know, like, there's definitely an amount of stress that comes with it, but it's kind of crazy to think about when you have a bunch of people working for you that you're like, wow, they all depend on.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary. Yeah. It's kind of feeling. Yeah, scary.
These decisions I make are a lot bigger than they used to be.
Yeah, and it's like it's even just making payroll, making sure that you have enough money to make payroll or whatever. That can be a challenge, and so it's like I constantly think about like this team depends on me, and we depend on each other to be successful and to find financial success. But there's some stress. Yeah.
How did it feel when you sold Lazy Boy? I mean, that was 19 years of your life. It was family, business. What was it? I just can't imagine the feelings that we're going through.
There are such conflicting feelings because it's like for me at least, it was the only thing I knew as far as my work goes, and it was also like I knew that I wouldn't have the same friends, employees that were my friends and stuff, because a lot of them would move to this new company. So I really missed the fact, and I still miss the fact of people I got to work with along the way. It was a tough decision to make because such a large part of me was in that business, personally, professionally, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, there's that conflicting, there's probably no better feeling than to know that you've set up a successful business, you've set your team up to be successful, and you're making a good decision for them, for your company, for yourself. I mean, it was like a win-win-win decision, or I wouldn't have made it because of those other feelings. It's like there's a lot that you do miss from making a decision like that, but it's like you can't really tie a bow on a business until you've sold it too, because you don't know where it's eventually going to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't imagine 19 years. It's interesting for sure. It had to be, I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes. It had to be a little bit scary. What am I going to do after this now? I know I don't have to do anything if I don't want to.
There's a large amount of fear because it's fear of the unknown of what's coming next.
Was it kind of exhilarating? Pushing you out of your comfort zone a little bit?
It entirely pushed me out of my comfort zone. It's almost like jumping out of a plane, because it's like I've only known this plane and now I'm going to jump out. That's a tough, probably a tough decision to make too. But it is exhilarating when you do it.
Yeah. That's very interesting. What advice would you give your 25-year-old self?
I would say to be less critical on myself, and to trust what I think I know and what I do know. I would also say to keep an open mind in learning. Those are the things that have probably powered a lot of my success in business. But you have doubts along the way of whether you can do something, whether you're good enough to do it. I spent a lot of time analyzing and reanalyzing decisions I had made on a business or personal level. And at some point, you really just have to choose to trust yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, like coming to that realization. Like, all right, I've done something right. I could trust myself now with some of these decisions.
When I was 21, I probably couldn't trust myself, but yeah.
So I got a few marketing questions for you. Obviously, we're a marketing company, so I always like to work in some of those. What do you think the biggest marketing mistake you see local businesses making right now?
I would say it's underinvesting in marketing, because it's like especially if you're in a tougher economy, which I'd say the economy's tougher right now, you're looking to cut costs, and so many companies I've seen locally, they cut their marketing spend, and in doing so, you're cutting your sales, and you're probably gonna have a decline in business. So it's definitely like, as long as you're spending your dollars the right way, as far as advertising marketing is concerned, like that would be the last expense I cut.
Yeah, we see that obviously, with clients sometimes, they're like, oh, we got to cut back.
And sometimes it's necessary.
But sometimes it's like, man, that's the last thing you want to do right now, especially if we'll present them like, here's your statistics. Like, based on these statistics, you should increase your marketing spend, what I mean? But it's always a hard thing to kind of relay.
Well, and I don't think it's always the easiest thing to see that you can be, making more sales or having, increasing revenue if you do invest in marketing. And I would say that's one of the big lessons I've learned is you almost can't overspend in marketing as long as you have the sales infrastructure to support it, and the right strategies. I really think that like most businesses probably underinvest.
Mm-hmm. If you were had a small business, so had a tight budget, and you only had $1,000 to spend on marketing, what would you do?
That's a good question. I mean, I'd bring it right to you. No, I would. I probably would, realistically. I would say that, and this is in my industry, I would spend it on social media marketing in one facet or another.
Get it out there. Get yourself out there.
And having good content drives that too.
How do you think businesses build trust before someone even walks in the door?
I would say that it's communicating truly who you are to your clients. So having a really clear message of what values your business has, communicating those well to your potential clients, and then before they get in the door, but also standing behind the claims or whatever you're advertising is very important too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Letting them, I always say, like, if they feel like they know you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through your content or whatever, it just helps so much because they can get to know you, before you even meet them.
You're right.
When you meet somebody, you get a short interaction with them. You don't sit here for an hour talking,
Yeah.
It's, so I think the more you can. That's why I really encourage people to be themselves in their content too, and not read like scripted stuff. I try to get people to, like, we can edit it, just read, give your pure answer of what you're thinking or what you're feeling about a question or something, whatever the piece of content's about. Because when someone reads from a script, you just really
can feel it,
tell,
right?
Yeah.
And I think nowadays, and you'll see this in like younger generation, like Gen Z, authenticity is so important. So if you can just be like authentically yourself, people probably will trust you then, because they kind of feel like they know you, but also know you on more of a deeper personal level.
Yeah. No, 100%. What do you think? Why do you think some businesses get referrals constantly while others never do?
I think it goes back to standing behind whatever product or service you're selling, and also your speed of communication to clients. So one of the things I'd say that makes a big difference for us is we're very quick to get back to our clients, whether they text or email or call us. They're not waiting a long time. So we see referrals happen because we do what we say, we provide a good experience, and we get back to them quickly where they're not waiting for an answer as often as we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and that can be tough to maintain, especially as you grow.
It's a constant struggle for us, especially, like I said, speed of communication. If you don't have enough people working for you, that's a tough one to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't answer every email or every call, but we definitely push that to make sure that we are retaining the clients we have and getting referrals from new clients.
How important is a personal brand of the business owner in today's world?
I think because authenticity matters, and giving people a personal glimpse into who you are when you are a personal brand. I think that makes a big difference in people's buying decisions. I think that personally, like, I'd like to support companies that I believe in, but I also like to support people. Whatever you think about Elon Musk, people buy some of his products because they support him in some of the ways that he's communicated, what their company does. So I do think it matters to, give people a personal, real glance at your life and what you're about, what values you bring.
Yeah. And even, I know you post a lot of even your business stuff on your personal, and just because people see it and follow you and know that you know about what you're doing,
Yeah, I would say too, it's just when you're a small entrepreneur, there's not a real clear line between what's personal and what's business. And definitely it's like, I have a brother with Down syndrome I take care of. He was at the agency yesterday. It's like, they're going to see him there. So, sharing that content, whether it's professionally or personally, it doesn't really make a difference because, like, especially with insurance, we're on a more personal level. I, of course, I'm always professional, but there is a personal aspect to it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How is that, helping take care of your brother?
It is probably
it's a big responsibility.
It is a big responsibility. And he moved in with me 18 months ago. Definitely at first I was kind of like choked up by the amount of responsibility. Like, this is really tough. Just like having any newborn or a kid that you're taking care of. And some things are definitely more complex, but it's the most rewarding thing. I am literally never in a bad mood anymore because I can't be around him, and taking care of him. He's so happy and positive and pure with just his intentions and what he wants to do, that it's like, he makes me a better person. And I would, like, almost at this point, I would never give that up. Like, it is just the most rewarding thing. And really taking care of him comes second nature at some point, right? But the benefit I have of having him close is just huge. He makes me happy.
Yeah.
I
love that. All right. What's one coverage everyone should double check today?
In Illinois, okay. In Illinois, we have more lawsuits than anywhere else, and more high dollar lawsuits. That hits something, whether it's your car, your home, your business, it hits something called liability. Lawsuits in Illinois can be above $1 million in the event of like a bad car wreck. Checking to make sure you have enough liability is incredibly important, because if you're not protected by your insurance company, attorneys can come after you personally. So it's like, if you're looking for coverages, that's the one thing I would check. Make sure that your liability limits are high enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to lose everything you worked so hard for.
Exactly.
No, it's good. I have a feeling that a lot of people don't think about that. There's just so many things, with insurance, like so many different numbers, so many different coverages, and it's like having somebody that can clearly break it down for you and give you good recommendations.
It's like, it's not my client's job to understand insurance. It's my job to educate them on it.
Mm-hmm. All right. I have one other thing that I noticed that I'm curious about. I saw on your LinkedIn, you're an investor in Miso Robotics.
Yeah.
What is that?
So I would say, like, one of my little hobbies is AI integration into robotics. I think that that's a huge opportunity in whatever industry going forward. And so what Miso Robotics does is they create essentially machines that will cook burgers or fries in a restaurant. They then use computer vision and AI to program those machines to have the right cook temperatures. And so, in industries where employment is tough, where it's hard to find good people to work consistently, something like fast food, Miso Robotics comes in and they provide essentially a machine with AI vision that can churn out hamburgers faster and better than most humans can at this point.
How'd that come about? Invested in that?
One of my friends who was an investor turned me onto it. He actually works for the company now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw that. I looked at it a little bit. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, AI, man. It's crazy.
I think there are a lot of good things from it. I think there are a lot of oversights or downsides that can come from using it too much or relying on it.
Yeah. One thing I get scared of is people relying on it as a source of truth.
Correct.
I started to create a piece of content about this, and I didn't word it very well, so I never posted it. I still want to make one, but I think if you're using it to learn something, like, or solve a specific problem or something, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it's great, but when it comes to things that maybe are opinion based or have like some nuance to them, it starts to get cloudy because in the end, each AI is built by, programmed by somebody, and those people have values that may be different from your values. So who knows? You see all these different tests that people run where they run them against each other and ask them questions like, is this person a good person?
Yeah.
Or something. And it's like, this one's like, yes, this one's like, no. And it's like, well, you know what I mean? What actually determines if that's a good person or not?
Yeah.
Or like parenting, or, you know what I mean? There's just these different things that I worry about the future of people taking those as kind of the truth or the answer of what should be done.
Yeah, because like you can ask it, what type of laundry detergent should I buy, and it'll probably give you, a great laundry brand that you could buy. That's a good use case for AI. But when it comes to any ethical or moral issues,
right,
that's a judgment on who programmed it, how they programmed it, how controlled it is. Yeah, it can be it's at least confusing.
Yeah, and I get more worried just because, like, as kids grow up and they're using it, like, is it going to be their complete source of truth?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now your opinions are almost going to be more based on what AI you're using.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what news you watch.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So that scares me a little bit.
It would scare me based on, I see people, whatever age, they rely on the information they get from it, and it has a tendency to give you bad information depending on the use case. It is scary.
Yeah. But on the flip side, it's like amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's honestly kind of like social media. Like, social media is an amazing thing. It can be an amazing tool. It can also be terrible.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at kids using it and stuff like that. Like, I think that honestly, kids probably shouldn't be on social media until they're 18.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think I've seen people I know, their kids that are in not good mental states because they've been bullied on social media or grew up using it to, it's just so young.
Yeah.
And it's just like, geez, man,
I tend to agree with you. And I think AI could be the same way, where it's like, there has to be a good use case for it, just like being on social media. If you're using it the right way, it can be great, especially like for a business, it can be very rewarding financially. Mm-hmm. But there are use cases for social media that you shouldn't be using it for, I think. Yeah.
What are some of the biggest ways the insurance industry is incorporating AI?
I would say the insurance industry is probably at the cutting edge, which you wouldn't necessarily think. They've had AI. They use so many different data models that they've been using versions of AI for a while now.
It's funny what people call AI. Like, all of a sudden everything's called AI. I'm like, that's been happening.
But the insurance industry is on the forefront of AI, and even in the work I do as a local agent, we have AI software that we use for analyzing policies, for not for communicating with our clients yet, but I think that may come at some point. But really the data that we use, which insurance uses a lot of data, we use a lot of AI, and in some ways that's even a little scary.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's going to be the next 5 years are definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, no matter what, the guarantee is like things will change.
Yeah, always. Well, David, it's been awesome chatting with you. What's the best way for someone to reach out there looking to have their get a quote or have their stuff reviewed or get some opinions on their current insurance?
Sure, you can. Probably the easiest way for you is you can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, at David Hilst or D Hilst. You can also just call 217-726-6343 or go to hilstinsurance.com. I mean, we're able to be connecting in every single way that there is. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for coming on today. It was great hearing more about your story to where you are today.
Thank you. I had a great time. Yeah.
Thanks, David.